Hmm. Choices to be made. Let's see, what have we got? We have got boards that I cannot read because I do not have my glasses with me. Glasses. Where are they? Who would have thought glasses would be so useful? Ah, there they are. Should have put on my glasses to see where they were. Good evening everybody. Having a bit of a quick stream here for an hour or so before I've got to go deal with micro. And okay, that's a 3332. So it should be U8900 if it's not already done. It's already done by the looks of it. Oh no, it's not. Might be okay. Hey, Dadumraz, Pedro. G'day Bill. Bill from A1 Mobile Repairs here. Nice to see you. Stefano, Travis, who I don't recognise, Fox, Byron, Jim Allen, Lalo, don't remember you, Keith. So do you have frames for all these boards? I do believe I have the chassis for most of them, yes. Hello Oscar. Let's see, this one's already had an SMC replacement by the looks of it. Now the question is, we've got a CPU short here on this one, so that's pretty much out straight away. I'm presuming that Jason sent it to me just as a parts box. Let's see. Yeah, that's pretty much a short. Is it the CPU or is it the regulator for it? Oh well, anyway, we'll put that aside. We'll classify that as a genuine short. Let's see, and this one's also been reworked, crispy fried. Not sure which one this is. Might be. It's a 4924. I should know that. The 2015 4924s. I've got the metal cage over the RAM on them. Now, of course, Jason may drop in and simply say, "This is they're all dead," in which case I'll be like, "Oh, okay." By the way, Bill, I have a 7 Plus that I'm supposed to do an audio IC on, but I'm kind of putting it off for a bit. It's been a little while since I've done them, so I'm feeling a tad nervous. I always do, because I'm always worried about the baseband desoldering issue. By the way, 7007 will not work without one CD3215. Awaiting another. Have you tried shorting? I shouldn't get someone else to do my experimenting, but if you try shorting the input of the CD3215, sometimes it will actually willingly take it out of the loop and you can run it. But yeah, usually with CD32s or 17s, I don't know if I'm telling you what you already know, but yeah, they usually all have to be present, which is one of the big pains with them. I guess you sort of get worried, but at times the nervousness kicks in and then you make silly mistakes. Okay, like running 0.8 volts. I was doing a short test earlier. I'm happy to say I found it. So nothing at all. Nothing at all. This is a 3437. It kind of peaks up momentarily, makes me think we might have a short. Yeah, we do make mistakes, I just hate it. Particularly when it's on live stream. Okay, PP bus is good. Okay, no complaints there. Oh, we don't have 342. I just noticed it's missing. I can only hope Jason's going to jump in here any second and tell me that these are all dead boards or not. Yeah, that's why I won't get anything, because that's missing, and the diode's missing as well. Oh well, if this is a donor board, then we're about to try and resurrect it and make a not donor board. Parts boards. Damn it, Jason. Where were you 10 minutes ago? Okay, they're parts boards. Alright. Even this one. What happened to this one? I mean, ignoring that. And all the backlight's gone. Okay, this... yeah, alright. Fine, looks like we'll have to find something else to attack. So much for that. Yeah, I've seen... So they're all parts boards, Jason's? They're the ones you sent up just today. Or whenever I got it. Let's see. I got a critical software update error one. 1706. I've got one here. 1706. What have I fixed this or have I not? Teresa, it's just the general YouTube cafe music. It's not anything in particular. That's why it doesn't give me a copyright strike, because almost all of that cafe music is pre-existing jazz music that isn't copyright. The 1502 is parts, the other one has a regulator short. Okay, so they're not all parts boards? I'm gonna have to make you start indicating more specifically. Okay. A 281 UB90, is that 281? I think I actually just handled a 281 like an hour or two ago. Give me a second. Let me just check. I'm just going to check on my job log. Hey John. 820 281. Funnily enough, would you believe it? Unofficial Mac Jason's job that I just finished is a 281, so I can get the ROM off that. This one is working. Oh, this is the laptop I was messaging you about just before. Let's see, UB90. I'm assuming that's the Thunderbolt ROM. Oh, no. And it's on the underside. Alright. Yeah, that's a hell of a coincidence, because I was just thinking about it. And I was saying to myself, oh, I need to grab those ROMs before I send it off. I was just checking it because I feel like this one might have had FlexGate or some other issue, because it has a bit of a flicker on the display, and I do not believe it is the board itself. Have you ever repaired the Flex issue by cutting the cable? I haven't. I actually don't do anything with the Flex board, the Flex faults. I just don't have that inclination. I know a few people do, like I know Pedro does them occasionally. Yeah, there we go. Alright, well, we'll do the, we'll do UB90 on here. This board has to be put through an ultrasonic cleaner anyway. You can see the other work I was doing, there's a whole bunch of, all these caps and everything, they're all corroded down there. I think the problem I have with the whole FlexGate well, more FlexGate than Dustgate, but the FlexGate one is I just feel like the repair will tend to just come back later. Okay, pin 1 bottom right. These are the adapter boards that Harold from Chipmunk CMR Zapper sent me. They make the process very easy. Hey, Dodumrose. No, you're all good. I'm happy to help out someone who already contributes so much. Okay. Unfortunately, getting the ROMs off these ROMs is very easy. Okay, so and this is, what is this? What's your job number, buddy? You are 1337. You know what, I actually need that. No, I don't even know why I bothered to manually type all this, but there we go. Okay, that's it. Now, I guess the question is where to put it. Let me just upload it to my Google Drive and then you can go from there. What? Ah, Jason, thank you for the Australian 4. Not sure what I did to deserve that one, but because you know I invoice you anyway. Okay, file upload, home. Obviously I'm not showing you any of this at the moment because I am not quite ready to. To open. I'm just trying to work out how to. Okay, that's uploaded. How to make a link to a copied link. Only people added can open this link. Anyone with the link. Copy link. Well, that should sort that out. Now I can go back to my above display. Super noob question. How do I reset the crappy Apple? I add an account to make sure it works. 1226. Yep. Well, that's so newbie that I can't answer it. Hey, creature. I genuinely am not sure about that. Yeah. Right, well, we better put the ROM back on. Otherwise, Jason's repaired board will no longer work. And I don't think he'd appreciate that. I think it was nice enough of him to not squawk too much when I did that to the board. At least, to be fair, we have a backup copy now. Okay, good. Glad to hear the link worked. And yeah, it's very easy with that board that Harold made for us. Come on. Oh yeah, that's brilliant. Brilliant. That's what you get for having an iron that doesn't have the heat capacity to cope with that area of the board. Come on, beep. Thank you. I believe he does, but I'll send you, if you like, I'll send you one. Harold sent through quite a few to me. I'm assuming he wants me to share them around to people who do good work. Which does make me wonder why I'm bothering to send any to Mr. I Scam You. And I have verified that, yes indeed, that is the correct orientation. Why is it purple? Well, I guess people like to, why not? It could be green, could be white, could be black, could be blue. Why not purple? It's all a matter of personal choice, I guess. Alright, just safely put this back into its place where it's going to be ready for cleaning tomorrow. Oh. Okay, now you're done. Pardon me. Right, yeah, I've got this critical software update one that I need to deal with. This may be a little out of my league. Let's see, 1706. $13.01. Oh, that's right. Yeah, I was going to do 13.01. I was just trying to work out what was going on with it. John, yep, we certainly have a lot of rain here. It's sort of eased off now, but we've most definitely had a considerable portion of rain relative to what we would normally get at this time of the year. Certainly there's been a lot of runoff and a lot of rivers are overflowing and a lot of people are being stupid. Okay, so looks like I seem to have walked away from this particular job. All I've got is 20 volts, 600 to 900 cycling. CPU is getting warm. Yeah. Creature, you don't get rain there. You get snow, and then the snow melts. Isn't that how it works in your country? Oh, this is the... Okay, this is the Amy one. Yes, Jason, this is one of yours. This one's for Amy. And for some reason I started on it, but then I walked away from it. I'm not sure why. Might have been just, yeah, random event. Hey, Michael Tritz. She needs data. Alright. I can only hope that we can achieve that for her. So we get 5 volts, 250, 250, 250, 5 volts, 250, 5 volts, 250. We're not getting 20 volts on this. We'll check another port. 5 volts, 250. 5 volt 250. Yeah, okay, that's 300. Not sure what to think about that one. Didn't you say that about a job the other night? I'm gonna have to stop believing. If not me, it'll go to on track for data recovery. Oh, okay. That's interesting. That side has different current compared to this side. These are 140. That's very unusual. This has got a lifeboat connector, and I do have a lifeboat. Okay, I do have a lifeboat data extractor coming in the next couple of days, Jason. So I may actually be able to recover it through that route. Yeah, that's bad news. Now I see it. Mind you, that's all on the same... That's a sort of a multi-pin single block. But it's not a good thing anyway. Okay, so that's corrosion on one of our CPU VREGs. So it may be a good thing that I am getting this lifeboat recovery system. Because I believe that doesn't require the CPU. I believe. I'll have to read up on the instructions for it. And you're just fortunate that it is one of the machines that still, yeah, has the lifeboat connector on it. Very fortunate, in fact. Okay, what the hell? I must have been interrupted when I was in the midst of... I must have been interrupted when I was in the middle of doing this board. Because there was no way I would walk away without seeing that. That's a fairly classic sort of problem on these particular boards. Very classic. Bill, it's a contraption that you can plug into these boards when they're dead, and it will read... It has its own solid-state controller in it, and that will allow you to get the data off the NAND chips directly. But it only applies to a limited range of machines. After that, they seem to have taken it away. Anyway, so what we're going to do here is, as you can see, we do indeed have corrosion over here and here, here and here. The real one that's going to be at fault is probably there's a little cap under here, and I reckon I could probably break that sucker off right now. Yep, there it goes. Yep. That's a signature fault for these sort of machines. Just put it in my box there where I keep all my parts. The other problem here is that this here is a data pair, so a balanced pair of data, N and P, and that's probably going to be messing with the signals, so we'll have to replace that as well. In fact, we'll just clear up most of this area. We do have a underfilled chip under here, and I am going to have to sort of lift this up in order to be able to get access, sufficient access to the board. Hey, Harkin Olsen. But yeah, I'm a little confused as to why I walked away from this one. I don't like doing this sort of... Honestly, this makes me feel like when you're working on an iPhone 6S and you're doing a TriStar repair, or a 7 and you're going to do a TriStar repair, and you find yourself... I don't do it on the 7s, funnily enough, but the 6S more often than not, I find I have to lift up a tab, which makes me feel bad, but sometimes you just got to do these things. The trickiest thing about this is that the chip is underfilled, so we can't just go all willy-nilly on it. We do need to... Ah, damn it, I'm going to have to peel off this just so I can see if any junk is going in underneath. Alright, we should be good. I'm going to put that back down, as it does provide a bit of shielding for the heat. Normally this is shorted through corrosion, but in this case I think we remove the short there. Jim, it could have been that. Could have been that. Okay, so what board am I dealing with here? This is a 239, I think. I'm going to guess a 239. Stop hiding your number from me. Man, the number of times I called that out in the nightclub. It's a 923, which is essentially the same thing. Eight two zero 923 update. Yeah, for the 923, we don't actually have a board view as far as I'm aware, so we actually use the 239. And that's what I mean by the fact that it's essentially the same. I'm not quite sure what the differences are, but can't be too much. Alright, we have a look at the schematics. This here is the little cap that we just knocked off. And let's see, where do we test for shorting on that? We can test to see if it's shorted on the other side, funnily enough. We've got this test point here. Yeah, that's interesting, it didn't... There we go. You still shorted? You are not. It would have been smart if I had actually tested to see if it was shorted originally. But given how feral it was, I'm not at all surprised. 18W, Textralian. Did you get my link on the company that I did, Jason? Yes, I did. I went looking for some stuff. Ended up with nothing at that point. Alright, so that cap can stay, that cap needs replacing, these resistors definitely got to go, that inductor pair has to go. I'm not sure about these things under here. There's a bit of corrosion on them. If I want to properly replace them, it may be a slight pain. Anyway, we'll clear up those two resistors and that inductor pair. Oh yeah, and the capacitor, of course. remembering in this instance we do have the limitation of it being a underfilled CD3215, so while the soldering iron's not going to cause it any grief, when we start bringing in the hot air we will have to be slightly careful. I'm just trying to see if I can get them to grab any solder at all. Nothing much. Oh, there goes one. This is why you generally can't sit around hoping that those resistors are okay. And there goes the other. So I was right to assume that they're going to be a problem. Hey, I repair it all. Ah, yuck, that just turned into gnarly toffee. And things go from bad to worse visually. Okay, we'll just give it a bit of a clean up and hopefully we'll be back on the road. Okay, that pad looks good up there for that cap. This one looks problematic, it's breaking away. So it's not the best. The top pad at least is okay. That bottom one looks like it's got a break. But fortunately it looks like we've got a fairly easy to gain, fairly good trace running off it there. Hey B-Blood, Mr. Pritchard too, hello. Yes, a hot mess is a fine term to be using for it. Also a term I can use for myself when I'm watching Karen Gillan. Well, Jason, let's see if we can walk through this one yet. Like I said, it's a bit of a mess right now. So I certainly do thank my years of being a model aircraft hobbyist, particularly that I worked on small scale planes, like indoor stuff, quite a lot. So you get used to dealing with lots of small things. Of course, back then I could do that without a microscope, not so much now. Yes, now that I've cleared away the worst of the junk, I can see there's a very nice clear trace that goes off to a veer. So that will be, fortunately, not too much trouble. That cap looks okay. This resistor, there's corrosion on it. Like I said, I'm a bit disinclined to attack these, but I may have to. If that is the case, I will probably try and eat away a little bit of this shield, just so I can get better access. But we'll see how we go. Okay, and of course I'm going to replace this inductor pack. But first we'll get these three parts sorted out. The dumb-res, oh, that's because of the heuristics limitation. I don't think I can do anything about that. 7430 on the 239. 7430. Yeah, there's nothing I can do about that. Nothing realistic. See, the problem is that it's a heuristically generated outline. There's no actual... the BRD files do not contain a part outline. So the only way that I can generate part outlines is I've got an algorithm that generates a minimum bounding box around the given pins. And since these are the given pins, though I will agree that there does seem to be a bit of a quirk of them capturing but anyway, yeah, so the minimum bounding box, you'll probably find that that area there is less than the area it would need if it was to do a normal sort of orthogonally orientated box. Yeah, likewise those two there. It's unfortunately a limitation of the math. And you may think, well, why don't you just limit it to be orthogonal or 45s or something? But then you end up with these sort of scenarios where if you do that, they will then be rendered incorrectly. So for every thing you try to fix, you ultimately create another fault. Interestingly enough, this one actually comes out correct there. It's not the same, but you'll notice that the pins are slightly different. So unfortunately, unless we convert these BRD files to BVR files and then generate specific outlines for these components, it's not actually a bug, it's simply a mathematical limitation. Hey Raj. Yeah, Creature, it did look like the 2 test points were in there, but that was just merely coincidence. I did create a number of moderately sophisticated algorithms to try and deal with that, and I added in things like make sure that if it was going to be rotated, it had to be rotated on a particular division of angle, like 5 degrees or similar. But yeah, I ended up just running into more and more dramas than what I was solving. So the real solution here is to convert it to a BRD file and then write in the outlines directly. You can see the same sort of behavior on almost all of the boards, even way back to things like 2915s and things like that. They all have it in various different manifestations. Well, you see, the thing is, it's not really even a bug. That's the problem. It's not a bug. It's just simply a case of the data leaves you in an ambiguous situation. Okay, what have we got? We've got a 470 nanofarad 63201. That's what we've got to put in here. 470 63201. Which I have ordered, but I probably don't have on hand. Yeah, I've got them on order, but I don't have them on hand, so I'll just simply take them from another board. Alright, I happen to have a 239 here anyway. And lucky us, all of those parts are there, including the filter pack. This particular board, I wish I remember who had donated it, but yeah, someone gave me this board and it has probably saved, well, it saved a lot of different machines, I will say that now. It'd be nice to have all the parts on hand all the time. In a nice automated carousel that you can just simply punch in the part you're after and your little carousel robot spins around and drops the part into a tray for you. Okay, just trying to handle that delicately. Yeah, that'd be something, Travis. That would be quite something. Okay, now I'm using hot air. But fortunately, the thermal mass of of this is significantly higher than of that. So we can get away with hot airing this until it reflows without concern about this. Trying to make it pretty. Now I know trying to make things pretty can be a bad idea. But I still do it. Yes, Travis, I'm being pedantic again, but I would rather have a tendency to do that than the other way. The best way to get sweet mercy out of me is to have someone like Lewis Rossman turn up in channel, and that's usually when I'll botch up everything. Let's get this filter pack off. It doesn't look too bad now that it's been washed and everything, but I don't trust it. Because they're compressed ferrite, they do have a bad tendency of developing fractures that you cannot see. The things like the A12 1278s, yeah, the 30, well, any of those sort of boards, they are notorious for having the USB filter caps packs cracked when somebody, say, has a USB stick in the port and the laptop gets knocked over or something and it bends the board, and it will just very, very fine crack onto the filter pack, and you'll either get no USB communications, or you'll have odd sort of corruption issues, or it'll work and then it won't work, things like that. Paul Lewis is here. Oh, right. You know, if you'd actually spelt Lewis the right way to spell Lewis, then you might have gotten me. And if you might have put a comma in there. Geez, I don't know, it's 50-50 on those resistors. We'll see what they're meant for. Hey, Scratcher. Let's see. Resistor, cap, resistor. You are... Alright, so that's a pretty important one. That's a pull-up. And... yeah, I'm not sure quite what that one's for. Looks like it's part of the debugs, maybe. Looks like it's just a debug. So mostly I would be concerned about this one, given that, like I said, it's part of the pull-up for the communications. And yeah. See, the trouble is, trying to knock this piece of metal out brings its own risks. I think maybe I'll see how it behaves without having to do that and go from there. A3X. So that's good. They're better. Yeah, but we'll see how we go. Let's see if this thing boots now. I'll just check this side as well. And a bloody good thing I did. Oh, crikey, mate. Yeah, that's a bit of a mess there. Looks like we've got multiple hits of corrosion on this board. Oh, sweet mercy indeed. So that one's a cluster job. This is why you can't just go, oh, I found one fault, I fixed it and it's ready to go. That's why you always got to check the board a little more thoroughly. And I'm going to make Paul S cry here because I'm using my tweezers as scrapers. That MOSFET needs to go. That's a no stuff. That fuse is pretty much trying to be a zombie fuse. That cap probably should go too. Likewise, that one. Definitely that one. That resistor for sure. I'm worried about what corrosion might be under there. Yeah. Okay, well, more work. Fun and games. The most difficult aspect here is going to be getting this MOSFET off without upsetting the underfill, the balling on this. Hey, Mr. Iverson, how are you? Okay, that's some 80-20 I've deliberately put on there. So it gives me, when I wash away the corrosion, it gives me a slightly better idea as to how important something is, you know, how badly something can be damaged. I'm a little worried about that chip. Is that the temperature chip? No, it's not. Something else again. Good one, Jason. Sending me a complicated one. Let's see if this is shorted. Doesn't appear to be shorted, but it's certainly not far off, so I'd most certainly be replacing that purely out of being a cautious person. Anyway, like I said, we've got to get that off, we've got to get the fuse off, take that cap as well, but we have to make sure we don't upset the CD3215. And, you know, ideally that's not a big issue, but this is live stream we're talking about, so therefore everything's going to go wrong. And if that does happen, that's fine. We just pull up that CD3215, the underfill. I don't like having to deal with the underfill chips, but if you have to, you have to. Cold chisel. It's a good idea, Pedro. Crocodile, I'm about as excited as seeing Jack Black get naked. Which is not. So I'm going to warm up this section of the board just to try and get it ready without getting too close to that CD3215. And I'm lifting it up slightly so that as soon as it goes, it goes. See, now the problem is that with these sort of extractions, you're not really trying to apply, the heat's not going from the top down, it's more you're soaking heat into the board and getting it to desolder from underneath, which when you put a shield there, it doesn't help that much stopping the heat getting into this. You're just basically hoping and praying that it's only going to be bottom side heat coming through, and it sort of gets spread out a little more, and because you've got nothing coming in on the top, it will last a few more seconds longer than it does to get that one off. We did manage to get that off. We sort of got a bit slow here. I maybe should have come in at this angle from the left side here. That would have been a safer choice, where I was coming in from this way, which means the spread would have been like around about that. Anyway, now to get that fuse off. Always easier to decide these things after you've done them. Come on. That is not where I wanted that to go. Gotta be careful, don't actually want to, you gotta be careful when you're sort of like jamming off these parts. I think I might actually be better off using the micro pencil, and that way I can get some solder down into the fillet and then just use a little bit of heat and it should pop off. Now that fuse is pretty mangled. I'm not sure the micro tweezers would actually have enough heat transferability. What I will do on a rare occasion is I will use both the micro tweezer, the pencil and the standard one, and I'll just like put them either side of the device. But I usually find I prefer to use a bit of hot air assist, and that gets things up. You can see that fuse; those fuse pads were pretty rotten. Hey, full wave. So let's scratch away. Get that lead oxide off there. Not that it's lead oxide, because obviously it's lead-free solder. So I guess it's probably some sort of tin oxide. Or nickel. I'm using the wrong soldering iron. Funnily enough, I'm finding now that I've got both irons ready to go, I tend to use the chisel tip a fair bit more than I used to before. Previously I would just sort of push through a difficult join with the micro pencil and not bother with the chisel tip, but now that I have the chisel tip directly ready to go, then I'm back to using it for the heavier duty stuff. Should release my own Linux. I'm sort of done with the days of doing that sort of stuff. The mid to late 90s were my era for that kind of thing, and that's done. It's scary to think that that's more than 20 years ago now. Very scary. In fact, it'll be 30 in a couple of years. It's a little bit daunting. I used to use Fluxbox until Wayland kind of made it a bit useless. It wouldn't behave properly for me. So I am kind of looking for a Fluxbox style window manager that I can... And looks like someone's already appropriated that MOSFET. We'll take your fuse though. You can't refuse. Back in the ponytail days. Well, it predates the ponytail days too. Yeah, that was back when I was a BMW driving, short-haired, Ray-Ban sunglasses, constantly either driving somewhere or flying somewhere, and goodness knows what time of the night I'd be woken up to go and sort out somebody's database or their NetWare server. God, I hated NetWare. To be fair, it wasn't really NetWare's fault. It was the database that the hotel system was running. I was in South Africa from 96 to 2000, late 2000. Right, that's my MOSFET there. I feel like NetWare lost its way once TCP/IP became the de facto protocol. Because, you know, I mean, everything with NetWare was running on the old, IPX, what was it? IPX, MPX, whatever. Anyway, their particular network protocol. And, well, that came off so fast. That came off incredibly fast. Ow, and it's hot too. IPX, MPX, I can't remember. I can't remember. There is actually a Linux journal article that I wrote while I was in Africa. It's probably still online somewhere. The only downside is that what they wrote really didn't, I should say, what they edited it to is not really what I was trying to convey, so I was a little disappointed about that, but that was my lesson into the bullshittery of what news articles and editing is all about. Because I had a fairly, wasn't this raving anti-Windows person or anything like that, but what they wrote made it sound like I was, and I was like, that's not what I was projecting. Hey, Yumara, IPX, SPX, thank you very much, yes. Oh, most of the database systems they had, they were not SQL systems. They were all flat file stuff. What was I'm trying to remember what the database format was. Anyway, they had a flat file database format, and it was a bit of a nightmare when things went wrong. Then again, most databases are a nightmare when things go wrong, aren't they? What's this? I was involved in installing the dual stack at Polytechnic so they could have IP also when we got internet. Yeah, when we started moving over to the whole IP, TCP/IP for NetWare, I pretty much started walking away from it then. And at that point, I had moved over to OS2 and Linux, and then in Africa we had the AS400 systems. To be fair, the AS400 was a pain in the backside in its own right. It was a great system, but you really did need to know it well. And the token ring networking was a bit of a hilarious thing at times, particularly when the token got lost. But it was a good example with the AS400 system of how, at least at the time, how good IBM's support system was. Because it really didn't matter what time of day, night, whatever, anything, whatever went wrong with that system, you could call them and they would be there in an hour or two at the latest, even in Africa, and they would get you fixed up and on your way again. Yep, that's the one, Wes. That's the one. Like I said, I cringed a little bit when I saw how they reworded everything. I understand the point of making the editorial change, but like I said, it did make me cringe, particularly because I presented it to my boss, or rather my boss's boss. Now this was a big company that I was working for. They ran a hell of a lot of hotels and they did a hell of a lot of construction in South Africa. And they kind of looked at me as if to go, why did we let you write this? It's like, I didn't write it like that. I think I got about $60, $70 US for that article. let's see. Well, I've got a wayward cap there. Not rightly sure where that came from. Thanks, Pedro. 64 megs of RAM. Yeah, they were the very good old days. I really did love my MX166 system with the BX chipset. It was one of the best performing systems I've ever had in terms of relative, for the time. I mean, hell, it handled a slash dotting and just kept on trucking. So I was happy about that. Okay, trying to decide what to do about this cap. Is it really... yeah, it's borderline. Borderline enough that I really should give it a yank. Hearken to the interpreted wisdom of His Greatness the King Tepimon 28th. Now I'm going to have to go find out about that. What I found interesting too, though, is that we'd be so into the nitty-gritty specifics of boards and things like that. Yeah, that's... nowadays when people go on about that, I'm just all like, whatever. It's like, I just want a computer that works. Back then it was like, oh, which board did you get? Which RAM did you get? Did you make sure you got the proper CL rates? And yep. Back when being white and nerdy was everything. Alright, let's get this cap off here. This one looks worse simply because it's just got lots of trash around it, but it's a better cap. Back when everything had to be IBM compatible, or you'd have places saying we're 99.8% compatible, and they'd be like, okay, so that's a no to purchasing you? Jason Cosgrove's probably sitting there going, can you focus on the repair please, Paul? Stop being so nostalgic. This is an important computer, we need it fixed properly. We don't need your memories spilling all over it. CPU jumper days. Oh, like with the using the pencil to get unlock features. That was on the AMDs, wasn't it? Yes, I do remember those. And back when we finally moved away from using jumpers for the interrupts and the addresses and just went for plug and pray. Like I said many times in the past, I'm really not nostalgic for that sort of... I don't look back too fondly on the past and computers. I'm very, very happy with being with modern computers now. So much happier. Okay, we've got a bit of junk there too. I just noticed on there. What is this? This is another one of those MOSFETs by the looks of it, and once again we're a bit bloody close to the CD. Kind of curious as to what on earth struck this particular job. Yeah, true, we didn't have a TPM. No. Inuyamaro takes the cake. Oh, come on, mate. Another one with the gates merged like that. That's not good. Hey, Kenny Whidden. Oh, well, what about going to school and you'd take your fold apart 5¼ inch floppy disk holder and you'd have a copy of Test Drive, you'd have a copy of AutoCAD, maybe AutoSketch. Yeah, all the pirated stuff. Back before AutoCAD decided they were going to have dongles, although they were dongle cracked ones pretty soon thereafter. Cut away the key to make it double-sided, and then you would get, what was that program called that you could use, and it would allow you to format those standard discs a little bit further. In fact, some cases a lot further. Were Durons any good? I think the problem is that they just didn't quite have enough punch. They actually weren't too bad a chip. I mean, I was obviously an Opteron person, but the Durons weren't that bad. Maybe they just sort of got oversold in terms of spec. HD format? Maybe. But yeah, I remember you could like take a 1.44, 3.5 out to sometimes even to 2 megabytes. It's certainly up to 1.7 megabytes. Nick Bass is so old, he used to store his programs on ticker tape. Oh, I'm so old, I use rocks. Yeah, let's play that game. No, I'm not that old. I think the oldest piece of machinery that I actually did stuff on was one of the VT terminal type machines, but instead of being a screen, it was an actual, like a printer. It was a printer with a keyboard. Installed an Intel board inside a case with an AMD sticker on it once. Did that boot? I don't know. That kind of sounds like you might have violated a lot of principles. Alright, so I just need to double check everything. I particularly want to double check those MOSFET choices. Everything's so old, everything was black and white when I was... that's a terrible game to play. Because even when you win, you realise you've lost because you've made yourself feel bad. Okay, Q3200. It wasn't actually a teletype, but it wasn't dissimilar to that. Okay, FDPC 4044. Okay, so I was just verifying that they're all 4044s, and they are. So we'll do one more pass. Just make sure we haven't missed any glaring. That's a micro call. We'll just snooze that. That'll give us 10 minutes, which hopefully will be enough. So it seems like this particular half of the board only sort of had that damage there. Oh, okay, there we go. See, we've got that smidge of damage. Now this is under, I'm pretty sure that's a Thunderbolt chip under there. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a Thunderbolt chip. Just trying to work out what that cap is. Okay, okay. In this case, that cap there is simply a, what do you call it? General purpose EMF, RFI, or whatever you want to call it. It's basically just there to squelch various bits of noise for compliance or stability. So I would, in this case, I'm going to take it off. Did you ever get the insulin problem sort of micro? We went to the clinic today and they've given us a new prescription. The only trouble is, of course, we had to go to the clinic, but what seems to have happened is in the prior time that we've had micro with the insulin situation, him being diabetic, the clinic has been understanding that micro has stress-induced diabetes, and so they understandably weren't asking us to come in. But apparently there have been various legal, medical, whatever people visiting, and they must have been asking about records and everything. So at this point, the clinic has said, look, to comply with regulations, we have to get you to come in. But we made a compromise with them, but which we're happy with, and hopefully they'll be the last we really have to worry about it. Am I slowly turning insane? Are you listening to classical? No, it's jazz. So yes, you're going insane. If you think that jazz is classical music, shame on you. Classical is far superior. Damn it, we're still stuck at 500, 130. That's basically a creature. That's pretty much close to, similar to that, yes. Oh, that's crazy. In spite of everything, we actually still have exactly the same outcome. We've got 250 on this side, 130 on this side. There's something I'm missing. And it's particularly interesting for the fact that it's asymmetrical. I really can't blame anything on this side. Well, let's have a look. We'll do some quick continuity tests. Yeah, it could be a dead CD. I'm really hoping it's not, but probably is. Okay, no short there. It's fine. One's got to be a beeper. Should be our 1.1. Okay, that's good. Yep. Yep. I really don't want it to be the CD3215 because, you know, that's a pain in the backside. It's probably going to be this one, maybe. Probably not. That being the case, this will have to wait for the next day. Yeah, I'll check the LDOs in a jiff. That cap actually... Oh, that one's shorted. Well... Wasn't expecting... Oh yeah, I could see it now. You know, I thought it was actually a trick of the light, but it's actually shorted. I can see the crack. You can't really see it yourself, but I definitely can see it. I just thought it was a trick of the light. A shadow coming across. But there, it's... The crack is right there on the corner. That's usually where you get crack. On the corner of the street, if you know the right guy. Yeah, it's busted off. I didn't even have to push that off, it just already has come off. Well, in a way I'm grateful, to be honest. There we go. Don't you love it when the parts get stuck to your tip? That 10-minute alarm's going to go off awful soon now. See if I can jam the chisel in there, but no, my doubts. More than likely I'm going to end up soldering the shield. Oh no, yeah, we got lucky. Man, that was some luck. Maybe it's like when you play snooker, the more you, or billiards or whatever it is, the one with the the numbered balls, the one that simpletons like me play. Okay, we don't have a short anymore. But what I was trying to say is that the more you practice, then the more luck you have getting fluky shots. So that was 3v3, so that explains a couple of things. CB308, Euro 10, 63402. A classic. Hello, Micro. Alright, so let's hope I can do the hot air without ruining this, because I have no mood to, absolutely no mood to replace the CD32. So what I'm relying on is the fact that the leaded solder will be very quick to crap. Okay, it's imperfect, but it's in place. Probably should actually cool the board down. Alright. Down. That looks better. 20 volts, 700 milliamps. We're up. We're alive. I'm just going to go do micro. If you want to stick around, I'll connect this up to display and see if it boots, but I've got to go do micro. Alright, we're back. Yeah, I just need to check email. Someone just emailed me saying that, or questioning as to why they cannot chat. And I can tell anybody, well, most people, if you can't chat, then it's going to be one of two. Well, I basically put it this way: I don't really ban very many people at all, other than spammers. I mean, actual spammers or robots. If you can't chat, check that you are subscribed, because I do have the you need to subscribe restriction on the chat, mostly because it does exactly what I want, in the sense of it inhibits flyby spammer messages. And if you are subscribed and you still can't chat, then it may just be that YouTube is being a SOB. Let's see. Dun, dun, dun. But as far as I can tell, in this particular case, it's probably just YouTube being an SOB. Alright. So let's plug this in and see if we can get a display and put a smile on somebody's face at least. Because believe me, I do not have the time of day to go around and decide, you know what, I don't want these. Well, I guess the point is, it's going to be YouTube more often than not. Or bad internet settings, or bad cookies, or something. It's not going to be me. Apart from a very occasional, very rare banning due to a particularly strong difference of perspective on something, I almost never do that. Hey Toby. Teresa, that's pretty hard. It's going to take a hell of a long time, unfortunately. But you know that. I know that. It's just one of those cruel realities that we have to face as being humans relative to the lifespan of our fur kids. It's one of those burdens that never gets easy. Well, I guess I should say it's never been easy for me, and it never gets easier. Even for the ones that we just foster and things like that, we've had a few unfortunate losses, and that still cuts very deeply. Okay, that's that. I can't recall if this one needs a battery, but I'm going to assume it does. And of course, yeah, there's the other thing, like what Wes just experienced, in the sense that we unfortunately can't know everything about everybody. Sometimes things are a bit unlucky, timing-wise. Okay, let's see. Privacy screen required. Jim, I'm the same. Yep, much prefer furry creatures over humans. And I'm not going to say present company excluded, because it's probably still true. Let's see, 1 amp, 1.1, 2. Okay, so it is going through a charge cycle. Hey, we've got an Apple logo. booting too. Nice. That was actually a bit more of a complicated job. When I say complicated, I mean tedious. A lot of things to fix up there. But yeah, definitely not complicated, just widespread. Except when the fur babies trying to bunch in the middle of the night. Well, even then you can sort of tolerate them. We're having a few issues with ours at the moment. They're voicing their displeasure about certain situations by doing what cats and dogs can do when they are not happy, leaving marks in certain places, not always visible, and making it a bit unpleasant for us. But we're playing the long game, and we're just hoping that once we can get a few more rooms cleaned up and a few things done outside, that they'll calm down and be all good. Oh, Jan Roberts here. Hey, Jan. Or Yan, sorry. Alright, well, we are out of here. I'm going to go off and do some more interesting things, like play 7 days and have Elita guide me when I can't see where the zombies are, and she points them out. And have some nice time to myself today. So you all take care. Look after yourselves. I'll see you on the next video, whenever that may be. As you have noticed, I am pretty busy these days, but I try to drop in and do a fix for you when I can. And Jason, I'll speak to you later. Obviously, good thing that we got this machine going, and I'm sorry it obviously took another week or so. Definitely still don't know why I walked away from this one, but I'm glad it's working. Anyway, I'm out of here. You all take care. Catch you later.